Shalom and Kag Sameach. This is a very memorable, and it's really very salient in my life to be here with you again. Since I think 2022, I was here, but not in this place. This is the first time that I am here in Alasai. And hearing all the messages we have since the first stop and this last stop to ours, the second stop, I found it very important to really share this important message to all of us. And it's really very important for us to be preparing for a role in Yahweh's kingdom. There are three categories where we have to prepare for our lives as a believer. We have that expectations to be part of Yahweh's work. First is spiritual preparation, because we want to be on top of everything, especially in this end times. So we need to really have that kind of preparation, because preparation is really very important. When we saw some opportunity, when we are prepared, that will be a great success. That's always I learned from Elder Don. Success is when preparation means opportunity. So we are not yet kings and priests. We are in the making on that role in His kingdom. So if we will not prepare now, we will not be able to do our role in the kingdom. It's not, because that is our destiny, and destiny is not a matter of chance that you'll be there and you're not preparing and you're not even having that mindset. It's like if the kingdom is not in your mind or in heart, you'll not be there. So first, spiritual preparation. We have four points here to prepare. Study and meditate on Scripture. That's a very important one. It's not bearing fruit, but it can really help you bear much fruit for the kingdom if you are really adept and immerse yourself in the Word of Yahweh. Because sometimes we say that we believe the Word, but we are not really convicted of His Word. We memorize Psalms 23, Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not lack. But when things got rough, we really don't trust Him. Yeah, we are challenged for that circumstances. So, regularly reading and reflecting on the Bible helps deepen your understanding of Yahweh's teachings and His plans for His people. If you don't read your Bible, it's clean, right? That means you are ugly, you are dirty. If your Bible is clean, the owner is dirty. Yeah? If the Bible is dirty, the owner is clean, because the Word is the one that washes us from anything that fell in our lives. Right? Nobody can cleanse us except the Word of Yahweh. So, 1 Timothy 2:15, it says that, study to show yourself approved unto Elohim, the workman needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So we have to really do that, because our job is really great and huge. We have that tasks from zero. From the baptism, from the time we were baptized, that is our job. It's not just only the job of the elders. Every one of us is tasked to do those jobs in preparing for His kingdom. And also, it's kind of very important to also understand that not just only reading His Word, but you have to really immerse yourself in the Word of Yahweh. Always reassure yourself that His Word is trustworthy and that you can really rely on. You can really trust on His words. That's very important to understand. And One thing we have to understand also that we have to avoid other things than the Bible. And except for, we have 5 books from Elder Don, the gate of hell, the gates of hell shall not prevail against her, and all those books that we have, biblical books that we have. But avoid novels for the youth, avoid nonsense books, and for the elders and the leaders, avoid the book of Enoch, and all those kind of crazy books that has no author, and maybe the author is drunken monks living just around us, and they change the narrative of the Bible, and it's really very dangerous. I read that book before I met Elder Don, but when I met Elder Don, I really, scales of my life and so, as an elder, that I talk of all those things. And I rely on the Word, the Hebraicus Bible, and I even don't use any more Bible than the Hebraicus Bible. I don't use King James anymore. All those I really love to use, contain myself in this, because I believe that gives us a lot of, success in our life as a believer. And it will help us to maintain our life as a believer, and no swinging, no turning to the right nor to the left, but going straight to His kingdom. Another one is prayer and fasting. Prayer and fasting are very important things to prepare. These practices strengthen our relationship with Yahweh. We have just like 2 months ago, we have that prayer and fasting, and it really gives us a lot of spiritual energy to continue our work and to combat any kinds of difficulties, challenges in our lives. If you pray, not just pray, but you fast. Prayer and fasting is so important, extremely important in our lives. It might not be like once a week, twice a week or something, even once a month maybe. But depending on your pace of life that you have, don't forget to really have that prayer and fasting. It helps our spirituality, even to our physical body. Fasting is really also have that many what do you call that, things that can also heal our infirmities through fasting. Then also in prayer and fasting, it is where we can ask help from Yahweh and His guidance in everything that we do. Because if we have some kind of big things to do, we have to really pray and fast for that. Not just don't just do it like you don't seek Yahweh's counsel. The third one is obedience to Torah. Of course, we know we are already aware that obedience to the Torah is very important, because to obey, there are always blessing. There are always blessing, and to disobey is curses, right? Our curses. So our spiritual preparation includes this thing: obedience to the Torah, following Yahweh's commandments and living according to His truth is crucial. This includes observing the Shabbat, working on Shabbat, cooking, dishwashing, or whatever, sweeping the floor. So everything is really, we do it religiously to really that Yahweh can see us. And also dietary laws is not just eating kosher food, but the way we cook, the way we buy it in the market, because there's a message of Elder Don that clean and common and unclean. If there's beef here and then pork, then you don't have to buy that beef, because it's already mixed with. So that is common. So it's really, even eating in restaurants is risky for us. We have to cook our own foods as possible as we can, as possible as we can. Okay. There are a lot of biblical instructions also from the scriptures that ask us to obey, because there's a righteous demand for Yahweh for us to be righteous. Next one is spiritual discipline. We need to have spiritual discipline in our lives. Engage in practices like worship. This evening we have that praise and worship. And worship is not just only singing and dancing or whatever. Worship is like our lives are a part of worship. Serving people, serving Yahweh and helping others is a form of worship too, as we can see that in Jacob 1:27. So, fellowship with other believers also is important. You can see that in Hebrews 12:25, not forsaking ourselves not forsaking ourselves with other believers. So we can see that really also is very important. And then Ephesians 6:4. Ephesians 6:4. And 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but nurture them in discipline and teaching of our Master. So discipline is not just whipping our children, but it's kind of a deeper meaning that we can instill to the children. How we believe Yahweh is very important. It's like Yahweh is also disciplining us, but it doesn't mean that we are sinning to undergo discipline, right? Because if we see the word discipline, that comes from the disciples. The word disciple even comes from that word. Discipline is a kind of thing that you are doing to really be successful in that kind of engagement, like boxing, whatever, singing, playing violin or playing instruments. You need to have discipline in order for you to succeed. Without discipline, all the things we do will not be successful. It will just be in vain. So, it's important for that. And of course, as children of Yahweh, we are also undergoing discipline. Hebrews 12:6-11. Hebrews. For whom Yahweh loves, He chastens and disciplines every son with whom He is pleased. If you endure discipline, Yahweh is dealing with you as with sons. For He is the son whom a father does not discipline. But if you are without discipline, of which all have become sharers, then you are strangers and not sons. So, we see here in this verse that if we are not disciplined, we are not sons. But if you are without discipline, of which all have become sharers, then you are strangers and not sons. Furthermore, indeed we have had fathers of our flesh as correctors, and we respected them. Shall we not much more be subject to the Father of spirits, and we shall live? Yesterday, we heard the story of Paddy about the prison here. They don't call it prison, and the prisoners are not called prisoners but guests. And it's not punishment, but like rectification or correction, like that. So it's like the women in the fellowship. They don't call them prisoners, but guests, and women criminals. They are correctional, not prison. Only they call it correctional. So here, we are not punished when we are disciplined, but we really have to have discipline. No matter what, we have to engage or to indulge ourselves with discipline. That's very important. If we can see the fruit of the Spirit, the last one, the self-control, is discipline. Without that, we can't accept anything in this life. And so much more for our purpose to be in the kingdom. That's very far away if we don't have that discipline. And then, let's go on to the practical preparation. One of the things we need to do in practical preparation is community building. Community building is very important. We started that with Elder Don in 2015. We say that, Orlan, are you ready for the community? I said, yes! 2 hands up. And I want to raise my feet too. And in 2017, we already have that community in Sapian. Elena was there last December. And the other year, and Sister Mariah. So it's very important to think about that, because we can't live alone. We can't serve Yahweh alone. No man is an island. And you cannot just say, it's between me and Yahweh alone. And you can just say, I don't need anybody, I don't need an elder. We need those things. Because sheep needs a shepherd. But goats, they don't need shepherd. Now if you don't need anybody surrounding you with the same faith, or an elder near to you to sustain your spiritual needs. So, you're not a sheep, you're a goat, right? Because the sheep needs. Sheep can't survive without a shepherd. It's very important. If you are a believer, you should have an elder to you, to help you, to guide you. You cannot be an independent when in terms of spirituality, because the elders are there as keeper of your souls. Yeah, don't forget your leaders, because they are there. Yahweh put them there to be your guide. So it's very important to seek and even live with like-minded believers. So this is just a blessing for us to have this community system we have, and it's around 30 communities in the world.
Yeah.
We have, yeah. So very important and timely to have that kind of situations, from home fellowship to congregational fellowship, and then to community fellowship, and then the kingdom, right? So we always believe that communities are next to the kingdom. This is where you can really be accounted for, and your action and everything you say and everything you do will be much more checked and balanced. So we will really know that we are on the right track if we are considering ourselves to be in the community, because there are the updates for us to do, to hear. Acts 2:44 to 47 says, it is there. Oh, wait. Want to go there? Acts 2. This is very amazing things to also know about these believers in the first century. They are the first believers. that are modeling for us. They start from 44. And all the believers were echad and had all things common. Communal. And they sold possessions and goods and distributed them to all according as anyone had need. And continuing steadfastly with one mind, day by day in the sanctuary, and breaking bread from house to house, they shared food in gladness and simplicity of heart. They were praising Yahweh while finding favor before all the people, and every day our Master would add to those who live among the congregation. So there's joy. Being part of the community gives us a lot of joy in our hearts. Of course, when you are alone and you worship Yahweh alone, having your guitar or singing, you're just alone. Sometimes we are tempted to be alone and to be lonely. Alone, lonely. Yeah. Oh, I wish to be with the brethren. Oh, I wish the feast will not end. That's what I feel before. I wish the feast will just be added some more weeks. Just what Elder says a while ago, right? We are really a creature where we are have that kind of attitude to be with the people, to be with Yahweh, right? So nobody wants to hide and to be just alone. And I remember Elder Don's preaching on somebody who keeps Shabbat on potato chips with his, alone, right? Alone in the dark. Yeah, alone. And yeah, in the basement. Yeah, with his aunties, What? Is that the kind of believer you want to be? Or you really want to prepare yourself to be on a community? It really helps us a lot to be in the community, to live in the community. That's why it's very important preparation, to build community. Then, number 2, skills development. We need some skills. We have gifts of the Spirit to be nurtured. Anything Yahweh can give us to be skillful, because Yahweh does not want us to be slothful. He wants us to be skillful. Because He wants us to be successful in life. And even unleash the greater potential of us from Yahweh. So having those skills, I know Elder Don has that skill of the administration, and before he became a believer, he has that skill in stock market. So we do have a lot of skills. Before we become believers, we have those skills. And what Yeshua wants you to do is to really use those skills. Don't hide them. Don't bury them because of fear, because of you might be ashamed, nobody will recognize you doing those things. But here, in our congregation, we don't need to be recognized to do things. We need no confirmation to do things. We do it because we know it. We know that it is very useful. Don't just do things to be recognized. Don't just do and perform your talents and your skills to be recognized because you just burn out. Do it for the glory of Yahweh, and nobody cares. Yeah, what you do. Because most of the time, people just care of what you are not doing or your failure. But nobody cares for your success and your good deeds. This is only up to Yahweh, So, for us as believers, we don't have to be skinny. Onion skin. To be sensitive. We should be sensible. That's the best attitude we should have as a believer. Not sensitive, but sensible. we should understand other people's feeling, but don't just be up for other people to understand you. It's part of our, habits. 7 habits of 144,000. Seek first to understand before being understood. Okay, another one here is simplicity and minimalism. Other ones in skills, you need to know how gardening works, and even cooking, first aid, and basic survival kits and skills, like if Yahweh really bring us here for real, that will be not in this area but outside, like Bedouins, we need a lot of skills to survive. I know that, even chilling and how to really make us comfortable, or if not, survive on the wilderness. Another one, simplicity and minimalism. Simplify your lifestyle by reducing dependence on material things. Simplification is really very important. As Paul says in 1 Timothy 6:6-9, six to nine. But our gain is greater contentment, for it is the worship of Elohim. So, being content is also a worship to Elohim. For we have brought nothing into the world. That's right. We came to this world naked. And it is plain that neither can we carry anything out. But having food and clothing, let us be satisfied with this. In Abraham Pablo's hierarchy of needs, he includes shelter, right? But Paul, only foods and clothing. So house is not even a necessity to be content, right? Basically, you can just make, many Americans now are having that car, van or something, that wherever they go, they have their house with them, and even tents, and even renting some cheaper place to really make yourself mightily be used by Yahweh in His ministry. I heard Elder says that if you have a $3,000 house, you can sell them and put it in the bank, and then you can the profit of it can sustain you, and even you can use it for your ministry, right? I know there's some rich man in America that I heard of that never have his own properties. All he did was renting, because he didn't want to pay taxes. Because if you own a property, you have to pay the real property tax. But I think I forget the person. He's a very rich man, famous in America. Warren Buffett. I think I heard his story about that. He does not own anything, but he is rich. Very rich. So, simplifying our lives, or like make your needs, I forget that word, make your necessity, and you make your need a necessity, or like that. I heard that from you. So really, just the need, not those wants that we are tempted to have in this world. So to minimize our expenses and lives will help us a lot. And then we have physical health is very important. You come to the feast and you are not healthy, you lose much of your presence because there is a quarantine, you know. You have to be quarantined if you are sick. We were here in 2013, we don't really enjoy much of the fellowship because we were contained in Rome because Hasim was sick. So it's really very important to maintain our health. You know, don't abuse our health. I heard some stories that in order for us to achieve and to have good health, work 8 hours a day, sleep 8 hours a day, and then spend with Yahweh the rest of the hours and with your family. And that's, I think, it's not complicated, you know? It's not complicated. Sleep well and have your health well. And mostly, sickness, infirmities will come when you are really have sleepless nights and because of worries and stress, you know, and anxieties. Then another thing here that we know that physical health is very important also, not much important when it comes to spirituality, but Paul has something to say about this in just this same verse here. Back 4, Matthew 4:8, not Matthew, 1 Timothy 4:8, same chapter here, same book. 1 Timothy 4:8, for bodily exercise is profitable to a little. See that? So there's profit when you have bodily exercise. It's not just nothing, you know. But righteousness is profitable to all things, having promise of the present life now, of that and of that coming. So it's not bad to have that bodily exercise. Jogging, you know, brisk walking, like this afternoon we'll do some brisk walking. I was thinking of not coming also, but I need to come. You know, brisk walking is life, you know. Walking is life. So if you live in the community, and there's a lot of walking too, so it adds many life. It expands your lifespan. Okay, so important. Then another thing is financial stewardship. Manage your finances wisely, avoiding debt and saving for future needs. People will tell me sometimes that they can't afford to tithe because they don't have money. So I heard a little says that it's the opposite. You can afford not to tithe. Yeah. You can afford not to tithe because tithe is everything. It's part of our financial management. Before anything else, you tithe so that you'll not say that, oh, I'm sorry I cannot tithe because it's all expense. All my money was gone. Go to expenses. But before you spend your money, give first for Yahweh. Put Yahweh first, even in your financial system. So financial stewardship is really very important. And if you do this, like we'll read, because we're still in the same book here, 1 Timothy chapter 6, 10 to 12. We should not love our money, right? Use them for Yahweh's glory and honor, for His purpose. For the love of money is a root of all evils. By means of it, some having lusted after it were seduced from the faith, and they themselves pierced through the many pains. So, don't love money, love people. Don't use people, use money. That's a good idiom, right? A good saying. You have to remember. Love people, not money. Use money, not people. But you, O man of Elohim, flee these things and pursue righteousness, holiness, faith, love, patience, and meekness. So, 12, fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, not on these material things here. It will not help us. Focus on eternal life, to which you were also called and confessed the good confession and before many witnesses. And now let's go to the third part, mental and emotional preparation. Have you heard about resiliency? Resilient or whatnot? People in the Philippines are called resilient because when there's typhoon, they'll just smile when the camera is focused on them. Even if they lost their house, they lost their loved ones. That's resiliency. We need to be trained. You need to have training like that. Resiliency is very important for us to really succeed, to be on top of everything. Because when time comes that we are challenged, we are tried, we undergo fierce persecutions. We already know how to deal with those things. Like my empowered belief always that when Elder Don told us in the school that then somebody will poke a gun on your head and then tell you, renounce Yeshua or else I will kill you. And he said that, go ahead. You're helping with the way the kingdom is let's take it. Yeah, it really empowers me. You know, and then one thing that we learned during those lessons we have, I don't know if you still remember that a pastor was asked by a communist to kill all his members, and he do it. And afterward, oh, you believe in us? We are communists. And he was also killed. So those things really is very important to really be in our mindset, you know. Train our mind. Mental training is very important. Especially nowadays, the fifth generation of war is a psychological war. Where everything is done in the minds. So we need to really train our minds, our mentality, to be adept, to be adaptable in every kind of situations we are in. Develop mental and emotional resilience to handle stress, uncertainty, and adversity. Whether we like it or not, every day in our lives, we always have that kind of thing. Adversity, uncertainty. So, we have to practice mindfulness. We have to be always mindful, always aware in every moment in our lives, so that Satan cannot really caught us unaware. Meditation is also very important for resiliency training. Counseling can be very beneficial. If you need something to understand and if you are confused, don't do it yourself. Don't DIY. Seek an elder. Look for an elder to advise you. Or even somebody that you trust. That don't do it yourself that you want to solve your problem. No. You need somebody to help you. That's why counseling is very much important. That's why in our kibbutz we have that counseling office for somebody who needs counsel, that they will be helped. Because we don't want somebody to leave our community without helping them, solving their problems. And even listening to them is enough. You know, many people will come to me and just have me to listen to them. They don't even want any suggestions, any advice or something. Just listening is enough. For me, if I have a problem, I will just tell them the problem, and then if they say, okay, I will pray for you, that's enough. The problem is solved. You know, it will not linger. It's like a glass. Oh, this is not a glass. But if you hold this is just almost empty, right? But if I hold this long, my arm will ache, right? Why hold this long and then put yourself in pain. Put it down. So the problems, anything, can be resolved by seeking advice and even seeking somebody to listen to. I remember Elder Don told us that there's a psychiatrist that don't give advice. He has a lot of calls. Because people just want him to listen to them, not to do, pushing them to do something like that. But that's also, it applies to us too. So you need somebody to talk to. So the elders are willing to listen to your cries, listen to your worries, and listen to your problems. And even if Yahweh allows us to help you, we can really help you. Yes, that's the job of an elder. Then we should have purpose and vision. I also remember that Elder Don told us that if you want to be successful in life, you should have an space. Space, a specific purpose statement. That if you want to achieve something, put it down, check it out. If you are really doing what you want, so you want to be a good father, everything, a good teacher, a good husband, every sort of thing, you need to have an space. But the successful people are the ones who jot down their things to do and check it out. So we can really have that in mind. And then clearly define your purpose and vision for serving Yahweh's kingdom. Or if you're serving Yahweh in a bad purpose, in a bad heart, not in a good heart, you'll burn out and go missing. You'll be drowned. Yes. You'll die in the wilderness. You can't get through to the promised land if that's how we do the things. And then we have to volunteer and serve. We know volunteering is very important also, especially if you are in the community. You need to volunteer, to serve, and to make yourself available when you are needed. And we have that every first day of the week that we have a community service. So everybody have to make themselves available for the work. Another thing is evangelism and discipleship. It's very important also to note that we have to share our faith to others, not just hiding in the wilderness. If you understand, the people who lives in the wilderness are the ones active in preaching. Like John the Baptist, he does not live in the city, he lives in the wilderness, but he comes to the city to preach. And the wilderness says that those our forefathers, they were living in the wilderness, but they come to the people to preach them. And for us in the kibbutz, we don't want to be comfortable in the kibbutz, not doing the work of Yahweh. Sharing the word of truth, sharing the goodness of Yahweh to others, and getting them to be in relationship with Yahweh is really very important. And it's a fulfillment of the Great Commission that we have to bear much fruit for the kingdom. So, by integrating these spiritual, practical, mental, and emotional preparations into our lives, we can be best equipped for our role in the kingdom of Yahweh. Kaya sa maya,